PW Hustle Networks present PWR at the Movies. Join the Professor, Tommy Wonder, and JB as they discuss the greatest pro wrestling moments in movie history.
In the future, after the big war, there will come a time to rebuild and a need for a new and special kind of soldier.
This man is carrying a loaded weapon.
Prepare to meet the next great American hero.
That's where you come in.
Are you serious?
His name is
Hell. Sam Hell.
Never heard of you.
We're going to Frogtown.
And this is the adventure he's been waiting for.
We're gonna get him out, and then you're gonna get him pregnant.
And if anyone's got a chance in hell of rescuing the virgins from the evil clutches of Toady.
It's a miracle.
Right. Let's go.
And escaping from Frogtown.
Go, 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 go!
It's Sam.
Shit. Holy shit!
Be there for the action. The adventure.
Sam! What are you doing?
And be there for the dance of the three snakes.
Dance or die! We're all gonna die.
When hell comes to Frogtown. Starring Roddy Piper as Sam.
Turn off!
You are one weird dude.
Sandal Bergman as Nurse Spangle.
Wired to blow.
Hell comes to Frogtown.
Eat lead, froggies!
What's going on there, Reflection Knights? What is going on there to the Vitoites, the Haminites, the PWCites? I didn't say probationary, Jimmy. So, you know what? I'm just going to give you that reprieve. I'm very, very, forgiving. I'm very, very, I let the things go. I go with the flow. But if the flow goes the other way, go back to probation and then back to what I keep telling TW not to do. So neither here nor there. But again, it's all love, Jimmy. It's all love. But anyway, what's going on to the PWCites? What's going on to all the Reflectionites? The left, the right, the Dems, the Repens? What is going on to one of the most famous Reflectionites out there, President Donald Trump, who has won victoriously? He has won the Supreme Court battle. You know what? It's like Roe v. Wade. Things can get overturned. So, you know what? I guess another 50 years before, Donald Trump's verdict of going his way will be overturned. He'll be dead by then, but then you just need liberal judges in 50 years, and then we'll all be dead too. So neither here nor there. It just goes to show you, amend the Constitution. Don't depend on the Supreme Court. But that's my little political diatribe there. But before I say welcome to the PWR podcast at the Hami Media Group at podbeam.com, even though I just said it, we must acknowledge certain things that has happened since our last edition, since our last broadcast. When we record sometimes, sometimes we record a couple of days earlier. So, sometimes people might be like, Professor TW, what's going on? You're not current. You're not telling us what's going on in the happenings of the world. Again, I keep telling y'all, I'm transparent. We record earlier in the week. So when we miss out on certain things, we acknowledge it on the next broadcast. And, I am not the official gatekeeper of death like TW is, but things happen in threes. So from the last broadcast to this broadcast, we lost 3 major people in our lives. 2 in wrestling and 1 in entertainment. I'll go with the 1 in entertainment first because I love me some Curb Your Enthusiasm. And rest in peace to comedian extraordinaire Richard Lewis, who's battling, I think, either Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. So he had a long battle. Of course, I hate that. I know family members of mine that are going through the little nuances of that, and you never want to see your loved ones in that state of mind. So for Richard Lewis and his family, I say rest in peace, and hopefully they will celebrate Richard Lewis's life, because he's got like seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm where you can see him on TV being funny, going back and forth with Larry David. And it was funny because the last episode I saw of Curb Your Enthusiasm, he was doing his comedy shtick at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. How funny is that? He's like, I'm getting over with alcoholics. It is, again, the nuances are so funny with that. So rest in peace, Richard Lewis. And of course, on the wrestling side, we lost The Rock, Ole Anderson. Yes, there is another Rock. It's not only Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It is not only Don The Rock Morocco, but I can't call him the first Rock. He might be the first Rock, but The Rock, Ole Anderson, one of the original pillars of the Four Horsemen, died at the age of 81. Again, a natural life. So, rest in peace to him and his family. And of course, the one that I don't know if you could say it stunned the wrestling world, but I think it was stunning because of what we learned later. Rest in peace to Virgil, a.k.a. what was his other name?
Soul Train Jones.
Soul Train Jones. And what's the stunning thing was not that he was battling ailments. That's not the stunning part, TW. The stunning part was he was older than we originally thought. He lied about when he was born. He originally told people he was born in 1962. No, he was born 10 years earlier. So, TW, if
he was 7?
Yeah. So,
I read 62.
In SummerSlam 91, where he won the $1 million championship at SummerSlam, he was actually 40 years old at that time.
Wow.
So, again, that's just the little nuances. Again, it's not stunning that he had the ailments, TW, but it was stunning that, we learned from his people, his management team, that he kind of lied on his birth certificate. So, neither here nor there. It's not about I'm judging him, but I think he even knew that he had to lie about his age to make it in the wrestling business. So this way he wouldn't be like thrown out the pasture. So Virgil, rest in heaven. You hustled the wrestling world, and that made you the master. People made memes about you with having that, that booth where no one would get your autographs or pay for your autographs. There's a booth up in heaven, and they're lining up around the block to finally get those autographs from Virgil. So Ole Anderson, Richard Lewis, and Virgil, rest in heaven. So before I'm going to introduce TW, but TW.
There's a fourth one. You can't leave out the fourth one.
There's a fourth one. I missed the fourth one. See, you are the gatekeeper.
I thought you were actually going to go with these 3 because the fourth one's a wrestler. So I thought you were going to go with him over Richard Lewis, who, by the way, I must say, as a kid, Richard Lewis I've known way before Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I absolutely love him on Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's the heel, basically. He's the heater on Curb Your Enthusiasm, the wet blanket. But he would always date. He dated the chick that interviewed the Step Brothers for the job, and they go, no, we're going to interview you. That's her. She was on an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Right. She's like, leave, get out of my office. Anyway, because of him, when I was a kid, I don't know if you remember Boku. It was like a Snapple, but in a box. And he goes, what do you mean you got no Boku? He goes, when I go to a party, I'm bringing my own Boku. And because of those commercials, when I got old enough to buy my own stuff, I would buy Bokus in a 6-pack. They were like the kid, not Capri Suns, but like the High Seas, but they were adult, like juice boxes. And I would buy.
I never heard of Boku.
BOKU. And I would go to parties and stuff and bring Bokus with me. And people would ask me, what's that? I go, hey, man, when I go to a party, I bring my own Boku. And people didn't know what it was. I wish I could get one now. I'm going to see if I can find one and mix it with some vodka, which is probably what Richard Lewis was doing. But the fourth guy is Paul the Butcher Michonne. he passed away at 86. I don't really know how. Mad Dog Vachon was the one with the fake leg, right? That Triple H ripped off, or somebody ripped off. Well, Paul the Butcher Vachon was his partner or cousin or brother or whatever, but he also passed away. And when my buddies who announced it to us said there's number 3, I'm like, damn you, Richard Lewis is number 3. They're like, we don't even know who Richard Lewis is. I'm like, the hell you don't? And I said the Boku line, and they didn't remember the Boku. But he was a pretty big 80s comedian and the 90s, and then Curb gave him the comeback. And Larry David's post about it was pretty cool, because Larry David's basically takes nothing serious. And he said they were born 5 days apart in the same hospital, and they basically been in each other's lives one way or the other for the last 40, 50 years. And he said, today he made me cry, and I'm never going to forgive him for that. Like, he basically said he just sat there sobbing. But you can't imagine those two aren't buddy. You know what I mean? Like that whole show. That show is so good. Like, if you like Seinfeld, you'll love Curb Your Enthusiasm, because it's Seinfeld without a script.
Absolutely.
All ad libs, and there's a whole season where they reunite the Seinfeld cast. Friends are on there for not the whole season, but David Schwimmer's on there quite a bit. Just a great show. And you know what? It's the same thing I felt for Richard Lewis, and I feel for Virgil. And now that I know he's older, even, it's like, 86 is a good run for Paul Vachon, and Ole,
76 is a good run for Richard Lewis too.
Ole, Virgil, and Richard Lewis were all ill, and I'm going to assume Paul Vachon was too. But it's like, at some point, if you believe there's something better coming, you're ready for them to meet it, because who wants to watch their family or friends suffer? 62, I thought, was too quick. That's less than 12 years away for me. So that made me sad. But to hear he's 72, that makes me feel like he got 10 more years than I thought he did. And not that I'm ready to go in my 70s. I'm kicking around till I'm 90 wonder. But yeah, it's just, every time I seen Virgil, it kind of depressed me, because like, I literally at one point thought he was homeless. So when I read that he died at the family home surrounded by family, that made me feel like he wasn't. And like, maybe he was, maybe it was a gimmick, maybe he was working it to get people to give him money or whatever. But I don't know. I think Virgil just hustled the wrestling world. Right. So you got kudos to him. He's old enough now. 72. He was old enough to be a carny. So they were carnies. And I got to say this about Ole. I always talk about him being the old man who didn't fit the Four Horsemen. I still think he was probably a good human being. I just don't think he ever fit the Horsemen.
Tell that to Teddy Long. He was dancing. So I'm just saying.
Well,
everybody has their experiences.
I mean, as a human, you don't want someone to suffer regardless, right? And what do they tell you all the time?
But again, there's two sides to every person and two sides to every opinion. So Teddy Long would be one person to be like,
Long would agree that it's up to God to judge. So if Ole did things that he shouldn't have done, he's answering to him now. So, but at the same time, you don't celebrate someone dying. You don't celebrate, especially with politics, man. People celebrated. Who's the guy? The shooting guy, and he got shot and killed at the gun range. Like, people were celebrating him dying because he was pro guns. Like, come on, man. Like, how low can you get? And so I just wanted to make sure that people know that when I talk smack about Ole, it's Ole as a wrestler, not Ole as a person. I don't know him. Obviously, Teddy Long does, and if they didn't have a good time together, that's them. But I just don't wish death upon anybody. And even though we're all getting it, we're all going to die. I just hope everyone knows my criticism are of him wrestling in underwear and boots that look like socks and no knee pads. That's it. And he didn't fit the Four Horseman gimmick. Maybe him and who was the other? Anderson? Gene Anderson. Gene and Ole were probably badass in their day. They were probably the Demolition of the Road Warriors of their day before I was ever even thought about wrestling. But him and Arn weren't him and Tully. Arn and Tully. That to me is the better. That's why I like Luger as the Horseman better than Ole as the Horseman. Even though some of them old stodgy people prefer the original four, I ain't one of them. But Ole, rest in peace. Virgil, rest in peace. Mad Dog Vachon, rest in peace. Richard Lewis, rest in peace. And you don't have to introduce me. People know who I am by now. It's good. But I did. This is for Ray.
And what is that? I can't see. It's a Popham. Oh, a cane Popham. Nice.
I have this one, and I have the Warrior, and I think the Undertaker's coming soon. But they come with their little plaque for the trophy or whatever. That thing was on Fanatics U. Jeff from TNA sent it to me. I bought it. It was $16. and then shipping. So I paid $20 for it, I think. And I went to go back. It was already sold out. There's only 3,000 of them. So I have one of them.
Damn. Well, you're quick on the button. So, that's good for you. Kudos
I also
to
bought
you.
the Sting that was released yesterday. That's only 3,000 or 5,000. Huh?
And before anything, before we get into our, PWR, you just said the name Sting, Steve Borden. So congratulations to a career, Steve Borden. 39 years in the wrestling business. I saw him wrestle in 1987. I saw, him go 45 minutes with Ric Flair. Clash of Champions 1988. We saw, TW, that, there's so many. Sting against Muta, Sting against Flair, Sting against Luger, yada, 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 Crow Sting, Joker Sting. There's so much of Sting. People might say, Vince McMahon kind of fucked up his career in WWE, but again, no matter what, he had his time everywhere, and he went out on his own terms. So congratulations to Steve Borden, a.k.a. Sting. So TW, give a little 3-minute soliloquy, and then we get on our show for Sting for your
nice touch of his sons coming out as the red and black Sting and the Surfer Sting. My favorite Sting, the red, white, and blue, the one he won on my birthday, right there. See him right here?
Yeah, I see it.
Can't really see it because of the other stuff, but Sting. It's funny. Amanda Caliber. I don't think she listens to our podcast, but back when I was a little more active on the Twitter and I was just adding wrestling people, she and I added each other. She's a huge Sting fan. She painted her face all 4 ways that he painted his face. Half Crow Sting, half Surfer Sting, half Wolfpack Sting, half Joker Sting. And she took a picture of both, put it on there, and talked about how she met him. Just such a good story. She's a good person, and she said something about once she saw him the first time, she wanted to watch as much. She saw him for the first time in 91 or something like that. Whenever she saw him for the first time, she saw him, and from that point on, she wanted to watch it. But the age-old question is, who's the one wrestler you could watch a video of just all them? Like, you had to pick one. Like, if you're on a stranded island, who you taking? My answer has always been Sting. Yes, the same can be said about him as about Flair and about Brett and about whoever. He has the same match. He does the Singer Splash, the Scorpion Deathlock, the Death Drop, the Howling, the dive over the top rope. But the one thing about Sting that I think makes it different is Flair brought humor. Brett brought seriousness. Sting brought excitement. Like, no matter who he wrestled, no matter if he did the same things in that match that he did with everybody else, you could not help. He had it. Sting has it. And, even in the end with AEW, when he did the dive off the balcony, I think on the Hobbs, and he did the dive through the table and missed it, and everyone's like, he's dead. That was a couple months back. He gave his all every single match. There's never a match in my life I've ever seen Sting in where he phoned it in. And the worst one obviously being Seth, because he got hurt and he tried. But even there, he broke a bone in his neck near his spine, which is the one I broke, which could have paralyzed him and or killed him. Obviously, it wouldn't be and or, it would be paralyzed or killed him. He gave his all, and he's one of the first. You love Mike Awesome. Mike Awesome was a guy who started wrestling the luchador style as a guy the size of Sid Vicious. Sting was one of the first guys that size that would just run and clear the top rope and dive over. Undertaker does it too, but he didn't do it till later. Sting did that stuff way early on. Top rope to the floor. He has it, man. Like, he oozes. Hogan had charisma, but he punched and kicked. Sting had charisma and flew all over the ring like a pinball machine. And just, it was exciting. You couldn't watch a Sting match and not be excited.
Yeah, like I said, again, we just try to keep up with the Joneses here. So we are as transparent. We know what's going on and all that stuff.
What did I text you, and Ray? What did I text you on the day of the show before it happened? What did I predict?
Oh, that Sting was gonna win
and retire undefeated, so Tony could have another tournament, and he did. And it was the right thing to do. I feel like it was partially done as a slap in the face to Undertaker's streak ending, right? 24-0, but no one can take that away from him. Now someone can chase the record and be 26-0 or whatever the case may be and retire, but it's a breakable record.
and he retired as a champion. So they went old school with the Vern Gagne, Fritz von Erich tradition. So with that being said, welcome to the PWR podcast, and now welcome to TW's favorite part of the PWR mantra of shows, PWR at the movies. So, with that being said, Reflectionites, Christopher Paul Bruce Winman, who's the newest Reflectionite TW, I remember a couple of months ago, he put this on the Facebook fan page, the PWR podcast Facebook fan page. And if you're not a part of it, go and join the nostalgic train. But neither here nor there. But TW, Christopher said, Chabelo, he said, TW, why don't you do this movie as one of your future episodes? And I said, I looked at it. I was despondent. I was like, what the hell? I saw the picture. First of all, I got to talk about the picture. We are doing a 1988, I guess I'm going to have to go air quotes for the audio Reflectionites TW, classic from 1988 starring Roddy Piper. And the movie is called Hell Comes to Frogtown. TW, before anything, you remember how we slide into each other's DMs, no homo there, but you saw the picture. You saw the movie picture that they have for Hell Comes to Frogtown. Roddy Piper is stoic. He has the girl on his knees, and there's a frog in the background. I'm like, what in the Tromaville hell is this all about here? Because I'm like, okay, I love these kind of like dinky kind of movies. Like the Toxic Avenger is so bad, but I enjoy it. So I said, okay, is this Tromaville or something? Because then I can enjoy it. But TW, when I see that Roddy Piper, I don't know if he auditioned for this. I hope he was offered the lead role for this.
There's no way he auditioned for this.
No, let me just say my statements. But, if Roddy Piper had to audition for Hell Comes to Frogtown, Reflectionites, then everything that you hear from, not conspiracy theorists, but people who just want to see Hollywood go down in flames, Did Roddy Piper TW have to audition with Harvey Weinstein? Did he have to do something sexual?
Was this Miramax?
I have no idea. Wait, was it Miramax? No, this was New World Pictures. But neither here nor there. I'm just saying, if Roddy Piper had to audition in front of Harvey Weinstein, and you know how Harvey Weinstein is a pedophile freak. He does things, he's a bisexual freakazoid. I'm just saying, TW, all the things you've heard about Hollywood, the evil side of it, the drinking of the children's blood and all the seances and shit like that, burn it to the ground. What say you, TW, about that? I mean, you was even quick to say he better not have auditioned for this. What say you?
Listen to me, man. The first thing I got to say, I just looking up to see what came out first, It or They Live, and they came out the same year. And I'm hoping this movie came out second. But I thought you told me.
I think this did.
I thought you said They Live came out late '88.
I don't. You know what it is?
This IMDb changed the way their shit is.
Yeah. So it's hard to give confirmation here. But I think in terms of what came out first, no, actually the release date did come out January '88. So maybe They Live came out second. So that's why he was. He rebounded, if you will, Reflectionites, with a better cult classic in They Live and this monstrosity called Hell Comes to Frogtown. So you are correct, TW. So this came out in January '88. Maybe the production release date, but again, Roddy Piper.
Okay, TW. I found it. I found the thing. So we'll see here.
What about it?
Right, go ahead and say what you're saying.
But either way, Roddy Piper had the Hollywood bug. Again, we saw it with Jesse the Body Ventura and what he was going to do with Predator and all that stuff. So Roddy Piper was like, you know what? If Jesse can do it, I can do it, Reflectionites. So, the funny thing is with Hell Comes to Frogtown, and you look at it from this standpoint, and we'll talk about what happens in this movie, Reflectionites, but it's a post-apocalyptic kind of, I want to say comedy adventure, because the frogs look really like cheesy. It's cheap. I'm just. Nice. I wish these frogs were CGI so this way I can enjoy this movie, but it's not. It's just rubber faces. But neither here nor there. But again, Piper got the itch to go to Hollywood, TW, and this was the first movie that came out. Thank God for They Live, because if that didn't become a cult classic like it has been to this day, I think Roddy Piper would have been direct to video kind of a movie star. And certainly he is technically, because in the 90s he had a couple of movies that I never even heard of.
Didn't we do a movie called Tag Team?
No, that was on ABC. That was a network TV show pilot. Yeah, we did Tag Team.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
But that wasn't a movie. But that was his like last string of something like very big and very noticeable. But everything else he's done after They Live is very direct to video. So, again, with that being said, we are going to talk about Hell Comes to Frogtown from 1988. The budget was $1.5 million, TW, but it looked like somebody shot it with a home video movie camera because, oh God, TW. Again, I'm trying to give you a picture of this because, again, people, even executive producer extraordinaire, Big Ray Hernandez, said to me in the DMs, Reflectionites, what the fuck is this movie? He never heard of it. And again, I told Ray and I told TW, CM Punk on an AEW Dynamite actually referenced Roddy Piper in this movie. So it kind of like hit the light bulb in my head, like, okay, well, Roddy Piper has a movie. I did not know when it came out, but I knew I've heard the name Hell Comes to Frogtown. So, of course, it is our duty to watch these movies for you Reflectionites. And it is our duty to tell you, should you watch this movie? Well, I gave TW the link, and it was YouTube. So if you don't want to rent it on Amazon Prime, if you don't want to rent it on Netflix or have a subscription, and you want to watch it free, watch it on YouTube, and you won't feel cheated. I did not feel cheated watching a free link, and TW certainly did not feel cheated that he had to rent it or anything else. He watched it for free. So if you can find a free link, then watch it there. So with that being said, TW, anything else you want to say about with the comparisons, or you got any notes that you wanted to talk about?
First of all, it's like you said, the cinematography's terrible. The acting's terrible. Piper's basically Piper. He's wrestling's Piper. The dialogue is terrible. The costumes are terrible. To answer the question, no one should watch this for free or otherwise. It is easily, and this is after the other Piper movie, this is easily the worst movie we've done. There's no, and it's an attempt. First, I thought it was going to be a couple years.
Wait, this is worse. This is worse than the zombie movie that we
versus Wrestlers. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Because that's terrible, and you had no expectations for it. But the fact Hell Comes to Frogtown, I think I was confusing it with Legends of Flatbush or whatever that Stallone movie is. It's about wrestling. Whatever. That was Lords of Frogtown or something like that.
Yeah, Lords of Flatbush.
Lords of Flatbush. Yeah, I was thinking it was that. So then when I seen this, I'm like, what the fuck? It's basically a cross between Red Dawn and Star Wars. These people are like saying Tusken Raiders. Then you got the guy, the bad guy who's the cop that's trying to rape Piper or whatever the hell he's doing in the beginning of it. He's the guy that fought Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way You Can, which was the sequel to Any Which Way But Loose or whatever. And the one where they fought each other and Clint Eastwood beat the mustache off of his face. That's the guy. I haven't seen that guy in anything other than that. I think he also maybe fought Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, but that might have been a different guy. But this movie is absolutely garbage. But what I thought it was a couple years older than They Live, and I thought it was them trying to redo They Live. Like, all right, Piper's the They Live guy, so he can do this. And so I liked it better when they had the masks on and you didn't know. So when he finally comes into that strip club, or it wasn't a strip club.
Don't go too far into it. But
when they're all just out and about as frogs, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be Ninja Turtles too? Like the nuclear waste turned the frogs into humans?
You know what's funny? Because you said, what you said is like, if this was the sequel or this was the continuing story of They Live into the after effects, I actually could take that more seriously. But again, he's not playing the character that he did in They Live. And of course, that came out second in comparison to Hell Comes to Frogtown. But we must at least give the plot here that Roddy Piper, ladies and gentlemen, Reflectionites extraordinaire.
This is where you're going to let people know why it's worse than Wrestlers for Zombies.
He is playing a character named Sam Hell. And you know, when the name is cool, I don't have no problem with the name Sam Hell because it reminds me of like Escape from New York, Escape from LA with Kurt Russell and the way he was Snake Plissken. He was trying to be that badass dude. He's a nomadic scavenger. And you know what?
Han Solo.
Well, he's Han Solo too, but yeah, actually he's more Han Solo because he's got a weapon, Reflectionites, and no, it's not a gun. It's his dick.
Yes, it is. It's a love gun.
It's a love gun. And you know why it's a love and why he's wanted by the government? Because he's not shooting blanks. He is carrying a weapon of mass destruction. And that is
seduction. A weapon of mass seduction.
Okay. Well, see, now you're giving it more credence. Now you're making
these are terms I use. Love guns, kiss, and I would say I have a weapon of mass seduction. Give it to all the bitches. Like Leon. Leon Curb Enthusiasm. I give it to all the bitches.
Yeah, but when the baby's
give it to you.
Yeah, but when the baby's born, we all go to Maury Povich. So that neither here nor there. But
I got beef caked.
Oh, okay. But that is the premise, firstly, of this movie. But the funny thing, TW, is that it is a post-apocalyptic thing. So the funny thing about this is the nuance of how it got to that point, that Roddy Piper is a nomadic scavenger with a love gun, weapon of mass seduction. Reflectionites, the world went to shits because men across the world, you know, did nuclear bombs. So they all wanted to show how their bomb was bigger and better. So the world was blown up, and now it's run by, the majority is run by women. So you know what, TW, the funny thing I thought about this is because of today's like social media, today's like, you know, podcast with, you know, men that are like so, I don't want to say so pro men and so like anti women. You get where I'm going with this, because there are men out there, and if you don't know these names, Reflectionites, Google them. Like Kevin Sings, like Fresh and Fit podcast. They will tell you how
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate's a good example too. How men should be the leaders, the gatherers, the hunters, and all that, and the women should just stand to the background and do the things for the family unit and be the mother, be the nurturer, and all that stuff. That's the way the society should be. And the funny thing, TW, is when the world goes to shit, women don't know what to do. They're gifted the world. They're gifted the provincial United States government. And look at the post-apocalyptic. It's not futuristic. It's not nothing, because women can't pick up. Some women are butchy. Some women are like lesbian dykes and shit like that. You know, again, Travis, bless me. I know I'm doing a little bit more, but again, this is a little bit of PG-13 professor right now. Maybe a little rated R, but I have to say what I have to say. TW will be rated G right now. But again, TW knows where I'm going with this. Women here in this post-apocalyptic world is running things, but they don't know what to do. You know, the world looks to shit. Frogs are running one side of the world, and the women are running the other side of the world. So what say you, TW, about the nuance of the post-apocalyptic? I thought women were supposed to make everything better. They didn't make anything better.
Well, this is 87 when people were smarter and they knew better. And they recorded accordingly. This is before AOC proved it.
Okay.
And so it's not, so listen, at the risk of us getting canceled, there's a right way and a wrong way to talk about things. And Andrew Tate and guys like that are they're too bullish, if you will. But it's not a secret that statistically the world was a better place when there was the core family, where the man went to work, the woman raised the kids. People weren't paying, like I have friends whose wives quit their jobs because they weren't paying as much in daycare for their kids for her to go to work as she was making, right? And sometimes it was the guy. So the family unit, we were putting out better human beings when someone was when a parent, whether it be a guy or a girl, I don't even care at this point. If one of them can stay at home and raise the kids instead of a school doing it, or a daycare center doing it, or the grandma who really is just letting them run the fucking roost.
As long as that two-parent household, doesn't matter if it's two guys or two girls or man and woman, traditionally.
Exactly. As long as one of them's there teaching them how to be a good human being with discipline and not necessarily hitting them. I never got hit. I think I turned out okay. My two brothers ended up prisoners, but You can't say it's because they weren't hit, because I wasn't hit and I ain't never been a prisoner. So, but that's what their point is the nuclear family, which you have one political party is trying to explode that and not make that, which that's the other thing. It's too extreme either way. You can't have people saying it can only be the traditional family. And then you also can't have people saying, fuck the traditional family. Let's have 3 husbands. Let's have
you know, there's a balance. You have to have a common balance.
But in a perfect
you can have
world,
the both.
You had one working parent and one stay-at-home parent. Again, I fucking give me a wife that will let me stay home and raise some kids. And listen, I don't care how many women I offend. I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to complain about it if I'm doing that over going to work. Because of 2 reasons. For one, it's easy in the beginning other than the crying and the feeding and the diaper changing. But then they get a little bit of self-sufficient. And the proof is these women end up getting side jobs when their kids are in school anyway, either volunteering at school or going whatever. So you're going to miss it when it's done. And you're going to end up having to get a fucking job anyway, because we live in a society, unfortunately, where 2 people have to have a 2-person income. Whereas 50 years ago, one person had a job and there was half the workforce, because half the workforce stayed home. You made more money. You for the times, right? You could work as a teacher and raise a family. You could work. You ain't working at McDonald's and raising a family unless you're the manager. But the point is, I digress. Yeah. So what happens is, and this is what the saying has always been, women are too emotional. So when stuff like that happens, if you need an exhibit, I've got 3 letters for you. AOC. Once she gets her feelings involved, she goes off the fucking rails. Is every woman like that? Absolutely not. But everyone's prototypical strong female politician is fucking, what's her dick? Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Look at her when she lost. She got emotional, right? Whereas other people are like, fuck you. I'm coming back 4 years to take your job. And so on and so forth. So the guy in this movie got beat up.
To be fair, but I just want to say, to be fair, I don't want to go one political there's people on the other side too.
You got to be in the middle. You got to be in the middle.
That's all I'm just saying. Go ahead with your diet.
The guy in the movie who's the cop, and I just remembered why he was dissecting Roddy Piper, because he got his daughter pregnant. That's that, and she claimed he raped her. And then when she found out she was pregnant, actually the dad didn't know. He just thought he raped her, and that's why he was in jail. And then she recanted her story because she found out she was pregnant and wanted to have the baby.
Wait. The beginning is funny, Reflection, because he is in a chair. It looks like he's gonna do. It's the death penalty. Yeah. So the guy, the sheriff, whatever, is.
He was like a custodian, dude.
He arrested Roddy Piper for having sex with his daughter. He didn't lie.
Raping.
Well, he said rape. Oh, yeah, you're right. But again, the nuance of apocalyptic movie. Again, I have to go back to Escape from New York or Escape from L.A. Snake Plissken, bombed places. Snake Plissken stole from the new United States. Well, you should. It's actually enjoyable movies. But he is more of a terrorist doing things like that. So Roddy Piper getting the Snake Plissken treatment over raping his daughter is very funny to me. But again, it shows you the nuances of the new United States run by women in these eccentric, extreme, no matter what on the aisle you are politically. But he is given a pardon by the new United States women's government because he has, what is that word again, TW?
A loaded weapon. That's what she said.
Yes. He has a loaded weapon, Reflectionites. The weapon, no, I wanted the trademark that
love
you
gun?
said. Yes.
The love gun. He's got a loaded love gun.
Yes, the loaded love gun, because Roddy Piper has something that most men in the new United States don't have, and that is sperm. So he is recruited by the new government that's run mostly by women to impregnate fertile women. Because it's funny. Again, I can't get the nuance of the science. Reflectionites, bear with me here, because the nuance is this. Roddy Piper, and let's say the percentage, TW, there's like, in a world of whatever's left of, I guess, 3 million men, right? Let's use that number. And that's too high of a number even for the
being liberal.
Yes, I'm being liberal here. Let's say there's 3 million men around the world right now in that new apocalyptic world. The percentage of men carrying a loaded weapon, a weapon of mass seduction, TW, is down to, let's say, 5%. 5%. So Roddy Piper is representing 5% of the world that can impregnate women. But the weird part is, mostly the percentage of women being fertile is higher than the percentage of men having the love gun, TW. I don't get the math, TW. Make the math make sense to me.
Well, I don't think there was a higher percentage. I think the whole point of this movie is the frog people rounded up all the fertile women, which, how'd they know? And so they were all in one place, and the mission was to go break them out because they were fertile, and the two bitches with Piper were not.
I'm just saying, TW, if there's not that many men that have the love gun, there shouldn't be that many women. And to be fair, there was a crop of fertile women. That's what I'm just saying. There's probably more percentage-wise of fertile women after the nuclear holocaust, TW. That's what I'm just saying. The nuclear holocaust happened, and men's sperm went down, but women's fertility went up. I don't get the math. Just make the math make sense, Reflectionites. I'm just saying.
The men died in the war. The women were still alive. It was even. Why do some have it and some don't? If whatever happened affected everybody, how did he survive it?
Yeah,
he was probably sliding in your DMs, and you probably kept it on ice for him.
I'm not fertile, so why would he slide in my DM? I got nothing to offer.
The war.
I'm just saying. There's nothing to offer.
You kept him on ice. You let him stay home. You let him be a stay-at-home power top.
For me in the new United States, TW, I would just have the cups. I'm just make sure it's all in the cup and all in the fridge. That's all it's me. But anyway, he is giving a pardon, Reflectionites, and TW. I guess they were trying to be funny here because, when they gave him this mission to go impregnate these fertile virgins, he had to wear a chastity belt. And now this goes into, they were making fun of Escape from New York, and you didn't see either one, but Escape from New York, Snake Plissken, when he did his missions, and he didn't accept to do these missions. He was actually forced to do these missions. Escape from New York and Escape from LA. They always implanted like viruses in him. And he had a certain amount of time to like do his mission before either he blows up or dies or some shit like that. So I'm just giving you the nuances since you didn't see it. So for Piper to like go impregnate these fertile women, Reflectionites, the provisional government that's run by women had to protect the loaded gun. So what did they do? They created a chastity belt for Roddy Piper. So what say you, TW? Because and of course there's a caveat with this chastity belt. If he unsealed the flap, it had a timer, and his dick would blow up. That's what I'm just saying. I'm just giving the nuances, TW. So what say you about these?
If he ran from them and he got too far away from their earrings, it would beep and then grab his dick and make him hurt.
Yeah, he would have a venereal disease, and he would be feeling the pains of venereal diseases. Reflection. So it's just funny nuances that at least with this, because Escape from LA, the viruses were fake. It was just embedded in Snake Plissken's mind to do these missions, or he would die. So they kind of they use that like misinformation, like today's social media. So it's just funny to me that they did this, and actually later in the movie, the chastity belt did explode. So it is what it is.
But they did make it look like it was bullshit, and then it exploded, which is actually one of the funniest scenes of the movie.
Yeah,
so fucking bad. But here's the thing.
Wait, before anything, I just have to recognize at least Roddy Piper's the star, but also his co-star. I think she was in Conan the Barbarian, if I'm not mistaken. But his co-star is Sandel Bergman, who plays, what the hell is her name? Sparkle? I forgot. Oh, Satchel? I forgot that. But anyway, the bitch's name is Sandel Bergman because she just looks vehemently from Conan the Barbarian, Tito. I just wanted to acknowledge her. But what were you going to say?
The funny thing about it is I'm trying to find that chick. The two things. The chick is one. The other chick was hotter. The short-haired chick, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the chastity belt's purpose was the chastity belt.
Yes, she did play in Conan the Barbarian, Sandel.
Juliet LaFleur was Squid Lips. Sandel Bergman. But the other chick
is Cess Varel, who plays Centralia.
She was hotter. But so the chastity belt was it was a punishment if he tried to run, and B, I think it was to stop him from whacking or banging other chicks because he needed to save it for those girls. But there's a scene where the blonde tries coming on to him and he turns her down, right? And then she does, I'm a master of seduction or whatever the fuck. And as soon as she goes to bed, the other one tries to bang him, and then
who's not fertile, and she's not fertile, but she's horny.
Waste of it. Right. She said she wanted to see it, take it for a ride. But anyhow, the blonde the whole time is like the beta. She's the second to the black chick in the beginning. Then she's the second to the G.I. Jane chick who's there. And which, by the way, that chick was on X-Files. Hell Comes to Frogtown. Yeah, there it is. Oh, that's the other girls. So, but the blonde comes out all timid, and then right when she's about to bang Piper, the chick does the thing with her earring and makes it thing. And she goes, I was just following orders. Like, the other chick was the leader. And then all of a sudden, now she's alpha boss. And the other chick is, you're out of uniform, private, or whatever the hell the case was. But it's funny because Sandel never takes off her clothes, but the other chick does immediately, right?
Yes.
And you definitely look at her and think lesbian the whole time. Like, you're never ever thinking she's going to be interested in Piper. I'm thinking her and the blonde are going to go at it, right? Like, they're going to go in the tent to taunt him, right? So, and then at the end...
You know, you're right. Because this looked like a bad 80s porn.
Yeah,
like the way the cinematography, the camera work.
No, the best way to describe it is it looks like a Kevin Sullivan produced Dungeon of Doom video. That is right. The Hogan getting choked out by the Big Show, staying in the White Castle.
Then this is better. Oh, it's better. White Castle of Fear, and then Dungeon of Doom is that's the level.
But it's very similarly done. It was bad, dude. It was not good.
It was not good, but it has its funny moments. Again, the chastity belt that explodes is funny. You know, to protect the loaded weapon, if you will, Reflectionites, is a funny concept for it. But again, the mission is to go into Frogtown to not only save the fertile virgins, but to impregnate the fertile virgins. And that's basically the whole premise of this movie, because once they went into the refinery town of Frogtown, again, TW, I'm not a stickler because I'm nitpicking here because, again, it's 80s movies. I love the hokiness. I love the but even in the 80s, I forgot the dude's name that did all the horror mask and stuff like that. But you know where I'm going with this. Like Freddy Krueger.
Tom Morello, or not Tom Morello, Tom Segundo or something like that.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
Evil Dead.
Yeah, but Tom
Savini.
Tom Savini. Okay, cool. But he honored his craft. He had passion for the craft of makeup and all that stuff. Frogtown Reflectionites. It just looked like it was just a mask of frogs. And of course, you know, they're talking like this. And all that stuff. But they're talking. It's just so. And for
it's like a person with a frog face.
And again, it's a person with a frog face. But again, do you remember the series V?
Yeah.
That was bad makeup too, but at least I could accept it for what they were trying to do. At least they had a human face, and then when they blew in the bump, the face exploded, and then you saw that dumb mask beyond it. Face, the reptile mask behind it. This is just so hokey
like
and shit.
Terminator. You saw the metal after he got beat up.
But that was better makeup and all that stuff.
Right. But V is at least a TV show. This is a movie. It should have a better budget.
I'm just saying, yeah, but it's the budget. It's the 80s. I understand that. But at least, like you said, Tom Savini has a passion for the makeup and all that stuff. He has a passion for what he's doing. And of course, V, they had a passion for at least with the makeup in itself. The human face explodes, and then you saw the reptile face. You says Terminator. Again, James Cameron had a passion for it to at least look good for the movie and the cinematography. Frogtown just looks like a bad porn that is just like so, you know, was so
What's
like
Jar Jar Binks' hometown, Nebula or some shit like that. They
Naboo.
look like they're Naboo. They all look like they're from Naboo.
Oh God, that is so bad. But TW, they go into this refinery town of Frogtown, but they also go into this factory, and of course there has to be a stripper, and there's a frog stripper, TW. So you know what? And the frog stripper, again, it doesn't matter about the laws of nature. She's horny too.
She's a horny toad.
And she knew the history of Sam Hell, a.k.a. Roddy Piper, and she wanted to bang. And if this was a porno, TW, he would have fucked her. That's all I'm just saying. Is what happened. So TW, what say you about the
put the mask on. She would have put the bag over her head for him too.
Yes, she would have. What
I
say
bet
you about?
there's a fucking porn a parody of this show.
There has to be. There really has to be. There has to be. Again, Reflection Nights, we're just trying to have some fun with this because I'm not going through the whole shit because, again, that's the nuance. The mission was to invade Frogtown, get the information, and find out what the fertile virgins were.
And get the guns, because it was also black market guns.
No, but we learned later, TW, so let's to be fair, the guy that accused Piper of raping his daughter was also... We find out in this movie is a double agent because he wants the money. Whatever money is in the new world, TW, he's the go-between between the.
He is Count Sodom.
Yeah, that was his name. That was his double agent name, Count Sodom. That
Captain
he was
Devlin, Count Sodom.
He was the go-between between the women's government and the frog government, so he can make all the money for himself.
No, he wanted to build the only nuclear weapon, and he was going to blow up all the women. He hated that women. He said I was going to balance things back. He died in 2021, by the way.
But yeah, again, the nuances of this movie is so bad. That's all it is. But they finally. Now we have to talk about the protagonist, you could say, the antagonist, TW, and that is the leader of Frogtown, and they just call him one thing, Toady. His name is Toady, TW. It was very simple, very direct. He was the big frog of the town, if you will, and Toad, of course,
Rocket.
I don't know about Toad the Red Sprocket, but. Even Toady was horny too because when they captured Roddy Piper's underling, if you will, Reflectionites, she had to do the dance of the three snakes. And we find out, TW, that the three snakes was 3 loaded weapons himself. I don't know if he was fertile. I don't know if he was carrying weapons of mass seduction in the frog world, but his snakes was going crazy when she was doing her gyrate, and her dance actually sucked. Even though she was, let's say, given encouragement by the Festal Virgins before she danced before she did the dance of the three snakes. So what say you about all that shit? It's just really hard. I'm trying, TW.
One of the funniest scenes, she's like, let's just walk out that door right now. That guy ain't shit. Whatever. And then they take him out. She does, like, all of a sudden she's karate. She's not the timid little blonde that she was. And then when she goes to leave, 8 other guys come in and go, come on, bitch. And just take her out of there. And the girl's like, maybe not. It was so stupid, dude. It's still not worth watching. Don't take this laughter like it means you should see it. It's that bad. And you know what's the dude's name that recommended it?
Christopher Paul Bruce Windland, the newest Reflection.
He either did not watch it.
Oh, he did.
To hear us talk about it, or he watched it and was so angry he wanted us to suffer through it too. He would never let us suffer. I think he knew that we were going to give it some entertainment. We were going to give it some feedback. He knew that we were going to be passionate for our Reflection Nights. Again, Christopher, if this is a rib, Chris, you got us. You win.
You win. You got us. That's all I'm supposed to say. But anyway, neither here nor there. But there's really nothing left to talk about again because Roddy Piper. Oh, we have to talk about that scene where Piper is actually tied up when they capture him. And of course, one of Toadie's underlings has got a chainsaw. And TW, again, this is bad 80s cinematography, but he is using a chainsaw to cut off the chastity belt. And you don't see him, directly doing it, but you see the fake sparks, the fakest sparks come up. TW, I was laughing. Like, this is ridiculous shit I'm saying. What say you, TW, about that part?
It's horrible. The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, is that fake or are they really firing sparks in front of both those guys? I think it's fake because it's too fluid. Like, it's the same pattern for both of them, whichever camera's doing it. And Piper, first of all, why isn't he kicking this guy? Because he's basically making it out like he's going to cut him in half to take the belt off of him. And then he just cuts through the belt. But the whole idea of cutting through the belt, he goes, this guy likes the technology. He wants to check it out, but then cuts the belt right where it ruins the belt. So how are you going to get the technology from it? And how did Piper not get cut? And then Style Lips, or whatever her name is, comes in to rescue him. And he goes, I owe you one. And she's like, oh. And then tries to put he goes, not now. And then she dies a fucking horrific death with a drill bit. It's just, it's so bad, man. It's so, so, so bad. Like Piper, I think what happened is, since this was first, he probably filmed They Live first, because that's John Carpenter. Probably took an extra time to produce it. And this one got made to kind of jump on it before They Live came out and without production. And Piper probably saw and went, fuck this. I'm going back to wrestling. This is not for me.
No, I mean, again, that whole 88, he was retired. He did 2 movies there, you could say. Neither here nor there. But with that being said, Reflection Nights, of course, Roddy Piper gets away. And of course, you remember They Lived, the infamous line that's still remembered to this day. I've come here. Well, what's the whole line? I
came here to do 2 things. Chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, in Hell Comes to Frogtown, he tries to do a line. He says, it's time to kill the froggies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a soldier's work is never done.
Well, pick your poison. He was trying to
I don't even remember the time to kill the froggies, but that would be more in line.
He had the 2 shotguns. It was like, it's time to kill the froggies. And then he kills, the underlings and all that stuff. And what say you, TW? Because, again, They Live, the Chew Bubblegum line is remembered to this day.
I think we had it wrong. I think when we watched the movie, he actually doesn't say it like that. It's the Mandela effect. Yeah, but that's the line.
But either way, the They Live line still lives in infamy to this day as something celebrated.
Yeah.
You can tell that with this movie, you even said it yourself that Piper was being more Roddy Piper, being more of a wrestler.
He even did the eye gouge.
Yes, he did. He did, Reflection Nights. He did an eye gouge. He did. I was waiting for a sleeper hole, but neither here nor there. But in this movie, you can tell that he was trying to find these one-line zingers. Because like you said, TW, the script was bad. Even the dialogue between him and the girl and him and the toad and all this stuff was so like, it was written by a 4-year-old. That's why it just really looked like the script was written by a 4-year-old. Like the producer's 4-year-old son or daughter just said, Daddy, can you do my movie, please? Right. And he did it, and like, fuck it. It cost me $1.5 million, and it probably grossed like $5 million worldwide, TW. But that's a profit. That's a profit. That's a profit. That's all I'm just saying. But anyway, what say TW of him attempting to do these one-line zingers that is still not... You remembered something in this Frogtown movie that he was trying to do a zinger.
Yeah, he was just always trying to be Piper. That's all he had was one-liners. Like, he couldn't remember paragraphs or something. Like, I'm just going to hit one-liners. But, again, I'm going to say this. This is the best compliment I can give him. I didn't feel like he was acting. Right? So, watching Piper on screen, I didn't see bad acting. I just saw Piper. Whether that's bad acting or not, I just saw Piper. The rest of them, especially, I can't believe we didn't talk about the fucking old man that he bumped into in the bar.
Oh, Tooney.
And so
Looney Tooney, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Looney. They call me Looney because I lost my Looney shit, whatever. Anyway, that whole scene, them even getting there, they had to go past the checkpoint where the guy who just got demoted, Count Sodom, is already at his post working and running it. They're not even gone yet. Like, how long did they keep him to test them? Fucking 3 days? It felt like a couple minutes, and like, all right, you got to go find these bitches right now.
By the way, TW, isn't it apropos, even for real life situations, Reflection Nights, whatever side you're on with the border, the illegal immigration, all that stuff, think about the post-apocalyptic world. The border is just that little tow booth. That's your wall. That's it.
And they're the enemy, yet he walks into the bar, white as fuck, with a regular-ass chick, and he goes in there, and everyone looks, and then someone says, when are we allowed to have humans in here, or whatever? But the other guy's a regular, just sitting there, loony, the whole time? I know he was dressed to make it look like he wasn't, and then when he revealed himself, that wasn't for their benefit, that was for our benefit that we didn't know he was a human. And he's like, Looney, you're alive, they told me, blah, blah, blah. So it's just the whole premise of him being there goes against what they already said, like we're behind enemy lines, we're in enemy territory, like they're gonna kill him. Remember the black dude gets killed in the beginning? Dave Chappelle the first, he gets shot because he's like, you're not supposed to have a gun, you're a felon or whatever, and they shot him in the head. I thought Piper was going to be the guy under that mask, but it was a frog guy. And that, man, I didn't really think there was a real Frogtown. So when they saw frogs, I was like, what the fuck? This is Naboo above water. And it's bad. And his one-liners did not save this garbage.
No, it didn't. That's what I'm just saying. He was trying to like have those zingers because again, for any purposes, Reflection Nights, Roddy Piper was trying to. I guess he was learning under the tree of Arnold Schwarzenegger because Schwarzenegger got the one-line zingers. He found a way to get one-line zingers in his movies: Terminator, Conan, Total Recall, all this stuff. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, TW. Schwarzenegger got a one-line zinger that you can actually remember from that one movie or whatever.
Drago,
like,
I must break you. I must break.
Drago too. But I'm just saying. But if you find an actor that wants to do a one-line zinger, that's what Piper was trying. That was his motivation, if you will. So, in all intents and purposes, Piper and his blonde-haired chick, the Conan chick, finally saved the Vestal Virgins, and they got to escape back into the town. So we could say it was actually a double main event because Piper had to overcome Count Sodom and Toady Reflection Night. So TW
Toady Rhodes.
The American Nightmare, Toady Rhodes. Okay, well we can go with that. Yeah, we can go with that. So what say you, TW, about the funny thing about Roddy Piper's character, again, he's not Rambo, he's not Snake Plissken. He's not any of these.
He's Sam Hell.
No, but he's not a guy. Technically, he's not a guy to me. He's not a guy that carries a gun.
He had one, but he said he was a war hero. Remember, he was a war hero, Sam Hell, because he said my reputation precedes me. Yeah, I know, Sam Hell, war hero. She's like, no, this thing, and grabs his dick, and then says, I can't. How do I get it out? There's a flap. That was the other running joke. There's a flap.
Yeah, it is a flap. So what say you about his double main events against Count Sodom?
I don't
and Toady Rhodes.
Toady Rhodes got dispersed because she goes, I can lose them in the rocks, and then they just show him standing there. How did they end up getting killed?
Toady Rhodes got killed because Sam Hell has a weapon.
Oh, they were chasing. No, what?
No, they were chasing him. Yes, they were chasing Sam Hell and the Vestal Virgins in the pink Cadillac, in the pink lady's Cadillac, no matter what.
But then they lost him in the rocks, and that's where Count Sodom was, and he threw the sword through him.
That's where we learned that Roddy Piper's best weapon is not a gun, and is not the weapon of mass seduction. Reflection Night. It's a sword. It's a katana sword where he uses it to kill Count Sodom, like a dart. And of course, he uses the katana sword, Reflection Nights, to chop off the hand of Toady Rhodes, and he falls off the cliff, Reflection Nights. And of course, with all this being said, I guess the reward for Roddy Piper is he goes back into the government to fuck Vestal Virgins, and then gets a 2-week vacation with the woman that actually he does like in the
and
Conan.
She's okay with it. It's basically the premise for The Bachelor. I got you, but you can fuck all these other girls too. That's basically what happened.
That's not even post-apocalyptic. That's the nuclear family's logic. Fuck them all.
Cuck. She's a female cuck.
Yes, she is. So what say you about this whole movie genre itself? I give it A for effort because again, yes, I do. I give it A for effort because it has Roddy Piper. It has the chick from Conan the Barbarian. It has titties. I love titties. That's my favorite because that's TW's post. But that's an inside joke between me and him. But anyway, neither here nor there. It has titties. It has frogs. It has all this stuff. It could have been better. But again, it was written by a 4-year-old.
Movie I was thinking of. It was Mad Max meets Star Wars and Red Dawn.
Yes. If this was done in the spirit of Mad Max, in the spirit of Dune, then this movie would be an A. But again, this was written by the producer's 4-year-old son or daughter and said, Daddy, could you just do this movie for me? So that's why I give it I'll give it a triple F, TW. That's the grade I'm going to give it. I'll
give them an A for effort, like you said, that they got this shit made. And another A that they got it distributed if it was in the theater or straight to VHS.
New World Pictures. It was a big company back then.
It's stunning to me that this made it. In a day when we're hearing about they made a Wile E. Coyote movie that Warner Brothers was asking for too much money and nobody would pay it, so they just vaulted it and said, fuck it, we're not releasing it. Like, are you kidding me? Put it on your stupid app. Like, don't just let it go nowhere. Put it there so people, now it's just sitting there and never to be made again. It's like, come on, man. What the hell? This movie got made somehow. And it got distributed. So for that, somebody was working somebody. But as far as an actual movie, Triple F, is there a lower one? Can I go Triple G? Because Triple F, Triple F was a failure. I'll give it 5. 5 count Bundy style F. It's a 5. Fail. It's absolute garbage. There's nothing redeeming about it at all. It makes They Live look like Gone with the Wind. Because I remember we did They Live. I didn't like that shit either. I'm like, why did I think I liked this as a kid? It's not good. But it's god awful. And They Live seems structured and well made in comparison to this Frogtown movie. And to go in thinking I was seeing Stallone and to see this, it's like, wow. The guy, Looney, has to be the producer. He has to be. He's either producer or the director. There's no way in hell that guy gets casted in a movie unless they were straight up out of money and said, hey, man, you want to be in a movie? Sure.
It has to be. It just has to be. But again, I think because Roddy Piper ventured into the world of Hollywood, maybe he did something with Harvey Weinstein. I don't know. That's just my, conspiracy theory here. But again, that's the stories you hear about Hollywood, Reflectionites. Hollywood is evil. Hollywood does sacrifices. So if Roddy Piper had to sacrifice something for Harvey Weinstein, that's why he got into Hollywood, and that's how he got his role. Everybody has to get their role, that one role, TW, and sometimes you got to pay your dues in some kind of fucked up way. So Roddy Piper must have done something here. This was not gifted to him. He had to earn this one. But again, I gave it a triple F. You give it a triple what? Z? What?
Triple F. No, 5 Fs.
Oh, 5
Bundy,
so
Bundy 5F.
You give it the Bundy 5F. So again, A for effort, but again, it's just an F all around. With that being said, we close on this special PWR at the movies that was requested by Christopher Paul Bruce Winland. I hope this wasn't a rib, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you was entertained by our looking at this, because again, this was the face. Well, if you see this on the video, Christopher Paul Bruce Winland, you'll see this face it's on the YouTubes. Huh? That's my face.
Or Pluto.
But anyway, I just had
Tubi. It was on Tubi and Pluto.
It was on Tubi too. I did not know that, but I was watching it on the YouTube stream. I was just happy that I just felt good that I gave you a link that you didn't have to pay for. That's all I went.
Funny because I went to watch a movie last night and I saw Santa's Helper. I saw Suburban Commando. These fucking movies I bought because of this damn podcast. But this podcast costs us money, so if people want to, we should do a Patreon. We pick a Patreon and people pay us to fucking watch shit we don't want to watch. That's what it would be. You already got your OnlyFans, guys only. Actually, isn't it called Guys Only Fans?
No, it's
only guy fans.
No, I have fan time for the ladies. But anyway, neither here nor there. But so we close on this PWR at the movies. Hell Comes to Frogtown, 1988 movie edition, starring Roddy Piper. And we are going to be on a week hiatus because executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez is on vacation with his lovely wife. So they're going to have some downtime. So we know that he's going to do his Sam Hale with his weapon of mass seduction onto his wife. And while TW is holding a AEW All Elite figure of CM Punk, give out those Ring of Honor edition, but give out those socials so we can get out of here. And you're holding up a Carmelo Hayes WWE action figure.
Already. The Pro Wrestling Coalition Network can be found at PWC Network at podbean.com, where you can also find Hameen Media Group at podbean.com, and also Hameen Media Group at channelattitude.com. Our show's on the X at PW Reflection. You can find Big Ray everywhere on social media at Big Ray Hernandez, and every Wednesday doing the Next Level podcast live. And then also you can find me on Instagram and X at TommyWonder19, or also on X at TheTommyWonder, which is also my TikTok. Snapchat is #Wonder, Facebook.com/TommyWonder. And you can find Big Vito on the Well at Big Vito Brand on TikTok. And then you can watch the early release of the Reflection video at Big Ray Hernandez on X.
And you can find me on the Xer at PWSOPROF, that's PWSO Prof. And if this gets uploaded by 8-Track Brown, this will be on the PWSO YouTube network. There is a Cash App on the PWSO YouTube network, so maybe I could get some of that money, so this way I could give you some of the money back of all the movies that you bought. But I have to talk to 8-Track Brown because he's holding my money too, so neither here nor there. So follow my brothers in arms, Billy Ray Valentine, the host of the Wednesday Locker Room at OB1 You Know Me, and of course the king of the reactions, 8-Track Brown, that's the number 8. TRAC Brown, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. What are we going to do in 2 weeks? We might do a what if. We might do episodic. We might do a spotlight. We might do greatest rivalries. I'll keep you on your toes, Reflectionites. I'll keep you on your toes. With that being said, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Dum Dum Do Idiot's own, the Iron Stomach one. Woo! Tommy Wonder saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR podcast at the Hami Media Group at podbean.com.
Time to kill the froggies.
That was a bad line. That's all I'm saying.
It's a horrible movie. It's garbage.